Now, the Indo-Pacific may be the big flashpoint of our times, but let's just rewind here, all the way back to the 20th century. Back then, all the talk was about Europe. Ruthless dictators, expansionism, wars. Out of all this chaos, a new Europe was born. A new political experiment was born. The European Union. But today, ideological differences are threatening the grand European experiment. Poland is challenging the supremacy of EU laws. Elections have unseated long-serving leaders and left the left-right ideological divide that is widening now. This is a threat to the very foundation of the European Union. How will Brussels deal with these challenges? Is the European experiment unraveling? Our next report tells you more.
Europe is a continent divided between soft socialism and right-wing politics, between European unionism and national identities. It's a battle that is unfolding right here, on the streets of Warsaw in Poland. Last week, Poland's top court answered a big question. Which is superior? European laws or Polish laws? The court went with the latter. It put Poland's national laws above Europe's. Soon, speculation began. Was this Brexit 2.0? Would Poland leave the European Union? The government says it has no such plans. At the same time, it had a warning for Brussels. Respect member nations and treat them equally. This tussle is part of a long-standing dispute between the EU and Poland's ruling party. They want to reform Poland's judiciary, but Brussels fears these reforms will reduce their influence. The popular opinion is clear. Europe is the way to go. Tens of thousands of Poles are demonstrating on the streets. Their worry is this: if it can happen in Britain, it can happen in Poland.
It seems that just as Brexit suddenly became a fact that no one expected, the same may happen here.
At least Brexit sounded good. Polexit doesn't have the same hold. These protests could force the Polish government to rethink. It needs European funds and loans to recover from the pandemic. But Brussels cannot be complacent, because this trouble with Poland comes at a sensitive time. Two center-right European leaders have stepped down, one temporarily, the other for good. Austria's Chancellor Sebastian Kurz stepped aside this weekend. He has been accused of using public funds for positive media coverage. Kurz plans to fight the case out of office. The other resignation is actually a retirement. Angela Merkel will be leaving office by the end of this year, sooner if a coalition is announced. Her successor is likely to be a social democrat. So that's two center-right leaders out of power. But there is some consolation in the Czech Republic. Populist Prime Minister Andrej Babiš is headed for defeat. A center-right coalition is all set to take power. These changes of guard will create ripples in Brussels. The EU was designed for greater integration, to one day erase borders and create a single European entity. That project has hit a roadblock. The last century was marked by Europe's ideological battles. The EU was created to avoid a repeat. The question is, can these battles be contained in Brussels? Or is the European experiment unraveling? Bureau Report, WION. World is one.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.